Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are playing a little bit of a playthrough here for Zomboid, and I've actually made a lot of progress. I wanted to say hello to everybody. Thanks for coming back. It's been a little bit since I've been online. Um, I just, like I said, I was having a lot of fun here with the Zomboid, and I've really taken it um, taken it to the game. I've been able to survive. I'm in a pretty good position, but I've run into a bit of a problem. I need medical supplies. So I first want to just kind of set up with the interactive map here, kind of what our progress has been to date, and to just let you know, just more of a narrative here of where we are at this stage right now. Okay, so get all the particulars out of the way. If you like what we're doing, like and subscribe, or make a comment in the chat. And let's have some fun. So, so basically, I started off in Rosewood. I'm playing the lumberjack, the trait, and basically this is what I find is probably the best for lumberjack. Um, so when you're starting in Rosewood, you start here in this house way in the corner down at the bottom here where my mouse is. I'll kind of center it there. The other option is starting up here close to the school I believe it is, which house is it? It would be this one here. Okay, so you're starting in this house here. All right. In this instance, in this playthrough here, I started in this house down here at the bottom. What I do is I ransack all of this houses, get what I need, and then I make a mad dash up the road to the firehouse. And I take on as the first zombies, which are really easy to do in the game. Um, if I see a lot of zombies in this parking lot here, I'll just slowly pick my way up in here and get into the firehouse. Once I'm into the firehouse, I basically go for the axes right away, get them, put them in these containers down here in the bottom right, and start to ransack the firehouse. I start to, if I get lucky and I get the electrical or the maintenance book, I will learn that to increase my learning. If not, I'm just getting all the clocks and all of the digital watches and everything from all the zombies around this area. Okay, so once I peel that off, I take an assessment of the vehicles. In this case, I had a pretty good fire truck that was down here. So what I want to do is you want to build up your electrical to 1 and your mechanics to 2. I have added the mechanic trait and the maintenance trait um, to kind of boost that capability. Once I do that, I move over to the police house here and I try to ransack the police house. I'm really not interested in the weapons. I'm really interested in all these computers. I'm interested in bulletproof vests, a nightstick, all the kind of interesting stuff you would get in here in the police station. But mostly, again, it's all the clocks and all the. By that point, I should be getting up in my electrical trait. I should get my level 1 electrical trait. And so all I need is one more level in the maintenance because I already have, or sorry, the mechanics because I already have one in mechanics. Um, I have at times, what I'll do is I'll bring over, oh, by the way, I'll bring over the TV while I'm doing my learning at 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 1800. I'll bring that over and I'll drop this into the police station so that I can rest here in this chair. I've usually put it here and I will learn up my traits there. Sometimes I've popped over to here. There is on the second level in the up here. There's a room over here where there's a TV, and I'll move into here and again get all the clocks and hopefully what I'm looking for is I'm trying to get the books. Now, I mean, I have at times went up to the bookstore. I believe it's right here, but I find that that really doesn't get me the capabilities or so all the books that I need. And I'll tell you what I usually do. So all I'm doing here is I'm trying to get my first electrical trait and build up my mechanics if I don't have a key. If I do have a key, I don't worry about it. I just really just build up my electrical trait because that's one of the, kind of, it's easy to do over time, but I'd rather do it fairly quickly. And if I get lucky again to have a electrical book or to have, maintenance keep book as well, that's really going to help with my level ones on that. So what I'm going to do here now is once I got my vehicle, and I go back into the firehouse. I get, I take everything that I got here, probably 5 or 6 axes. I also build up my maintenance by sharpening the blades and all that stuff. And then I take my vehicle and I rush up here to the gas station and I gas up my vehicle. And then I also come in here. There's a TV in here. And I get in here and I ransack this for as much food as I can. There's also usually the Mechanics 1 and Mechanics 2 books in here. And I try to learn up my mechanics to level 2. I might, if there's some vehicles around here, I might, since I already have a key, because obviously I've gotten up here, I really don't need to build my mechanics at this stage and take on the risk. Sometimes there's a lot of zombies in here and it's difficult to get in. So I will come into, I'll pull in here, I'll probably park my car in here, I'll run over to here, and I can usually use this as a fortress to stave off the zombies because you can get up on the roof up here and you can usually, without really trapping yourself in here, there's enough to move around here and there's not a lot of zombies that come around. So this is usually a safe haven over here, and you usually by this time you've built up your axe and your maintenance, and you should be able to take on. All right. Why do I come up here? I come up here to gas up my vehicle, gas up as many gas cans as I can really carry weight wise. I mean, I'm a bit of a hoarder, so it's kind of difficult. Um, I may pop over here if I feel a little adventurous. Really, what I'm doing is I'm buying time for the helicopter event. So in the helicopter event, I will be up in this top room up here. There's another level up here that has a building up here. I will be up in the top room, up around here, and I will be in this room and with the windows curtains closed. And I'll wait out the helicopter event. The reason I do that is I'd rather have all the zombies over here than where I'm intending to go. Okay, once I do this, I'm ready to go. I'm gassed up. I get into my truck and I start the long trek over here and up this road, and I come across this road to my favorite location, which is this place here. And this will be the home base. Sometimes you can get in here, so you might pull in here. I might pull in here. I see a bunch of zombies go by. I'll park my truck here, turn it off, run out here, and run over to this house. I'll run up the fence line. I'll pop over, and then I'll take on the zombies here. There is sometimes a risk that I'm going to run out of, you know, um, the when you run out of breath and all that stuff, and you also get tired and all that stuff. I tried before I make this move be all built up. I do not have the getting nauseous in the car trait. I got a really minimum amount of traits available um, because I find that the lumberjack is really sufficient. I think I do have my strength built up, so I do have the brute or the brave trait, I believe, enabled. All right. So by this time, I'm pretty strong as long as I'm rested. Rested is the key. So I'll run over here. There might be a risk getting in here to be able to rest. Um, if not, I will probably retreat to a little, it's usually fairly safe around here. I'll try to find a location to retreat to. Um, I have never come down to this. This usually has some interesting stuff in it. Sometimes a generator, sometimes some supplies. So I may creep across here, but really what I want to do is I want to rest up to take on all of these zombies. So what I will do is I'll come in here and I'll piece away, piece away, piece away, piece away. I'll come into here. There's usually a fair amount of zombies, but not enough that's unruly. What I'll do is I'll lure all the zombies up into this area, and over here. So I'll come over here, I'll get all these, I'll battle them all, keep them all over here. I'll move up here if I need to get a little bit more space, and I'll distribute them all here. This is the dead zombies, that is. I'll come into here. I'll come in and take a look at what I'm looking at for supplies in here, and then I'll come down into this area here, which there's a fair amount of zombies, and I'll lure them up here, and I'll get them. If I get lucky and I get a resident key, I'll come into here and open this door. If not, I'll lure some zombies around, and maybe they'll get caught in a window and break a window for me. Um, it doesn't matter. I can break the window too as well. I'd rather not have it. I like, things nice and neat. My goal is to get into this building. Once I get into this building, basically what I do is I clean up all of these desks in here and these ones, clean out all the stuff. I move it into the kitchen, into these areas here. I move all the food into here. I clear all these cabinets. Um, and I get this already. I go down into the basement. I grab everything. These two cabinets here are going to be my weapons and, the adhesive tape and things I need to repair. I'm going to put all of I'm going to grab a TV that I've hopefully got at this point. If not, I'll go get one. I'll put a TV in this corner. I'll throw this chair outside so I get some room. And I'll put all my videos in here. This is the bedroom up here in the corner. So you go up to the top and to the left, and this is the main bedroom. I'll put all of my magazines and everything in here, as well as my learning books. So I'll come up to the bed and I'll sleep. I'll learn. I'll sleep. I'll learn. I'll sleep. I'll learn, and build up as much skills as I can at this point. All these bottom ones are where I keep all my medicines, my clothing, my guns, my fishing lines. All of this stuff is all going to be down in here, and I'm all ready to go. So now I got a vehicle. So what I'm going to do now is hopefully I've learned up a lot of skills. I've got up my skills. I'm ready to go. I've cleaned up all the zombies. They're all away from the house, so I don't get any problem with bad smell. I will come over here, make sure I clean out the zombies. I will take a stock of the livestock and see if there's any work that I have to do. Usually I'll bring a pot over here or a bucket and with some water, and just because usually they're thirsty. Sometimes the trough that's underneath here is not filled up with water, so I'll give them some water. They got lots of food and lots of hay, so at the beginning you don't have to worry about that. I will then go into this building here, try to get in here if I can and get this food, as much of this food as I can, and put it inside the kitchen and inside the refrigerator, because we still have power. That's not a problem. And I just take stock. Once I do that, I leave my truck here, um, and I try to get the best truck when I'm in Rosewood, and then I'll do the big walk up here. So I'll walk up this road, I'll kill as many zombies as I can, and I take my first pit stop here. I come in here, get as many food, and try not to be the hoarder that I am. And either stop off here or stop off here. I mean, I might be able to clear this off, come over here and then clear this, and then I'll do a stop off here. I'll rest, I'll get all my energy up. Usually I'll have some beta blockers and um, caffeine, which are really helpful in fights. And usually I'm able to survive to this point, no problem. Then I'll continue my walk up into here. It gets a little crazy up here, but I want this area in here, so I'll start to take out as much as I can in this area here, battle some zombies, work my way down through here. At times I've even found a sledgehammer in here. There are some really good tools and stuff in here, and I want to own this area. So I want to clear out most of the zombies in the first wave in here. My goal is to get into the school. All right. So I'll come over to here and I'll look to see if there's any cars in here. There usually is. There's usually a fair amount of cars in here, and I'll try to get into one of those. By this time, I've built up a mechanic's trait. I've used my vehicle at the back at my home base to change batteries out, change lights out, and everything, to build up mechanics to level 2 so that I can hot wire. All right, so once I'm in here, I'm going to find a vehicle that's good, and I'm going to try to hot wire. It doesn't really matter which one. It's really just a transport vehicle, or a vehicle to get around to find a better truck, hopefully a step ahead. All right, I'm gonna, usually if you come into here, there's a fair amount of zombies around here to fight. There's a fair amount. I've even had some times to get into this building. The only problem with going into this building is it's fairly common, at least in this building anyways, and maybe possibly this one or this one, where an alarm is going to be set, and even on one of the cars. So you have to be very careful. But usually this area here, these two windows here and this door, There's usually a lot of zombies here, a lot in the doorway. But if I come on this side, I can creep down here along the fence line, and these four windows here can get me into the school. As soon as I get into school, I might have to battle a couple of zombies here and there by crouching. I'll open this door and I'll rush up this stair, and I'll just make a turn here and come and over this auditorium here is the library. Okay, and the library is absolutely stocked full of every book, every magazine that you would need to survive. So I will break in to there's a storage area here on the second floor as well. And I'll go in here and I'll get set up in here. And what I mean by set up is I'll come over here, I'll battle all the zombies, I'll try to keep the zombies dead. There's a little corridor down here, and there's another area in here where there's some computers and some water and stuff. There's also some bathrooms above here, okay, right next to the library. And so what I do is I basically kill off as many zombies. I want to get in here and get one of these armchairs. I'll pull them out. I'll put the armchair in this little room that's beside the library, my safe house area, so that I can rest. I move a couple of boxes around so I can just sit on the chair and transfer all the books and transfer it. So I'm hoarding as much as I can here while I'm learning all the books that I can and all the magazines that I can. All right, and that takes a fair amount of time to do all that. Once I do that, I've already either prepped a car that I need. If not, I will start to pick away at some of the zombies here to be able to get in and try to get a car, a truck. All right. So once I do that, I will back the truck up to here. I'll load it up with all my books and all my magazines, and I'll head back home. Okay, so now I've got a second vehicle, which is always helpful. If you get lucky, I may even do a third walk run. So I'll bring my vehicle back, unload it, I'll come back for my third one because I may have found 2 or 3 cars here that, or trucks even, available. And so now once I do that, I might park them on the road here. So I'll come and I'll run up here. There'll be more zombies that will come into this area and populate back into this area. And I will take that other vehicle and I'll move it into here and I will gas it up. Okay, and then I take my other 2 vehicles back and forth and back and forth. I build up, some supplies, but you have to be careful, obviously, um, for the zombies. There's a fair amount of them. My next goal is to get into this firehouse and replenish if I didn't have enough jackets or pants or axes. I'm going to want to get into this firehouse. There's an awful lot of zombies in this area, tons of them. So what I usually do is I usually come into this house, I do a pit stop here, I kill many of the zombies, I come up through the back way, try to make it over and clear as much as I can for this pathway here. Okay, so I clear all of this. Then I'll go back to my car, which is usually parked down here, and I'll bring it back up and around. If there's not too many zombies and I can get in here safely, I'll bring my car in here. I'll kill the zombies that I can here. I'll kill the zombies in this area as much as I can. If I can't, I'll get out and I'll either come back into here or into here as my pit stop because now I'm up in this area. You want to stay in this area because if I leave, they're going to form into there. So my goal is to take ownership of this and get just across here into here and then creep around this corner into the fireplace, kill off some zombies. There's usually some vehicles in here. I'll take stock. If hopefully I'm trying to stay away from the big horde of zombies here. If there is too many, I'll abandon this idea because I probably would already have had a couple of axes anyways and some firemen. This is just to get a little bit of extra gear with regards to the firemen. I try to squeeze as much of the fireman gear and the axes as I can. All right, but I'm not going to risk too much. Okay, so that's my goal here. Once I do that in here, there isn't very much. I find that, these stores here, I might want to come over to these ones, but there isn't usually a lot in here. There is a medical center in there. I can get some stuff. It might be easy, but there's a ton of zombies in here. There's some vehicles that could be here, but it's a really high risk, low reward here. This area here. Okay, so once I do that, Then what I'll do is I'll come back and I'll go into Echo Creek. And so Echo Creek, that's going to give me some really good vehicles. It's also going to give me a generator if I don't have one, because there's usually a default generator right here and a gas station. So what I'll do is I'll bring this generator over here. I will take it back home if I don't have one, but if I do have one, I will take this generator to power this to get this ready to go. Now I can either power this gas station here, or I can power the other gas station that's in Ekron, which is a little bit closer. All right, but either way, I'm going to get some vehicles. I'm going to look in here, and I'm going to look in here for some tires or for some upgrades, and now I'm going to take my 3 vehicles that I have, and I'm going to start to scavenge and make at least 2 really super good vehicles, 3 if I can, or possibly more. I will also pick up cars along the way if I can, in my area here. All right. So in this area here, there might be a card here. There might be a card that I can actually, maybe a car around here. There could be a car in here. There might be a car up here. So, and even if it's a little car, I'll bring in the little car and I'll do a swap down at Echo Creek, or I'll do a swap here to get 2 or 3 trucks that I can use. All right, so that's what I've done, and I'm in pretty good shape. I've survived. I've even gotten some sheep from across the road, because if you look here, you'll see that there's a lot of troughs and stuff here. There's usually sheep and livestock running around here. So I brought those over. I brought them in through the back way here. So I would come in through the back this way, down this path. Or you could come up here, or you can come down here and up and around. It takes a long time because you're hitting all these bushes, and I just drive over them rather than clear them out. And really what you want to do is you want to get your livestock trailer over to here so you can easily enter, instead of carrying the sheep from, you could probably go from here, you can maybe carry them over. All right, but if you got a ram, or some male one, or even a cow or a pig or something, have to be led by a leash. You'd have to come and leash it all the way down and around here. So I usually like to bring up my vehicle up through here. I'll stop in here and get what I need. I'll bring my vehicle up in here and I'll park it so the trailer is right here by this gate entrance. And then I'll painstakingly drive this through. Now again, is it quicker to just pull my vehicle up to here and unload? There's not a gate at the top, so I'd have to come all the way back down. I mean, I could take a gate out, and take it out and then repair it, with the welding capabilities, if I have those capabilities. But this is the long walk down here for like 4 or 5 minutes. Gotta come back and back. And the other thing too is if I'm carrying them, not leashing them or walking them, they really take a lot of my stamina out. Um, so I just usually like to just pull this up, and it does take some time. And 6 of one, half dozen. So half dozen of that. So basically, I'm all set up. All right, so we're all set up. We're all good to go. And now I don't have very many other places to go. There is a huge, huge, huge gun shop here. Would be, where is it now? Yeah, here. This usually has a fair amount of good vehicles here, like bullnose, or what do they call it? Bulldozer drivers or whatever. Bull drivers, I think they're the nice trucks. And then you can usually break into here, and there is just a ton of weaponry in here. That's why I don't worry too much about the police station down on the bottom, because this is really where my area is. So now we're all set up. I could probably go some other places. I've never been to Irvington. I could do that, but actually I'm going to go and try to take on Brandenburg. I haven't done this before. So I was trying to look at a jump off point for Brandenburg. And jump off point, I mean something that has a well. Um, the other option would be to come down to Irvington. It is a fair drive, from where I am. So I'm up here. Okay, so I have to come all the way down to Irvington. And what I'm looking for is I'm being forced to have to do my medical supplies. So if I remember, the medical building is up. where was it again? Uh, yeah, there's a pharmacy there. Okay. So if we look around here, there isn't a lot of wells in any of these, around any of these cities. I think there was one up around the upper part up here, but there is just so much that you have to go in to here. Now, this is kind of interesting is that we got a gas station and we got a storage units right out at the outside here. And then we got the speedway up there. So, I've looked at Irvington. It's kind of, there's just a lot of housing in there. There isn't a lot. I mean, there is here a big school, which is always, the schools are the focus. There's a hardware store, which is really helpful. You might even find a sledgehammer in there. So that is an option to be able to come down to Irvington. But like I said, because I'm up here, all right, I'm more closer to Brandenburg, and I haven't been to Brandenburg before. So this is almost the first time I've even seen Brandenburg. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get a jump off point. This looks to be about the best. While there is going to be a lot here, if I come into this restaurant in this building here, that might be an option. I can also come in on this side over here because this looks pretty scant. I mean, there could be some stuff in here. What I'm searching for is this medical center here. There's a diner, there's a gas station over here, and I want to see and take a look at this military base here. And if I can get based up into there, then I can jump off into the prison. There's quite a bit of capabilities, and there's a huge school in here too as well. All right, so I'm probably looking at this area over here. There's also over here a community center. There's probably a lot of office building stuff in that. There's a lot of these buildings in here, um, and these look like bigger houses in here. So I'm probably going to get a fair amount of supplies in here as opposed to these smaller places. And then obviously we've got this big mall complex here, and then we've got a train yard. So I'm thinking, I mean, I could come in here, but then I've got to come down and around. So I'm wondering if I just take a look. It may be that most of the zombies are going to be in the storage units. I would really like to get into here. If I could get into here, then there might be a sledgehammer in there because I don't have that yet. There's also a car dealership here, a diner, and then we've got this mall complex that has a bunch of stuff. Okay, so I'm thinking that this is going to be my jump off point. Um, there is an option that if I was to put a vehicle here, I could come and base up into here, which is pretty safe because it's got trees. It also has a fence. So this is another option, is maybe to come up into here, come into here maybe first, take a look at what we're looking at here. I might be able to take over this base here and maybe not worry about this coming in. I could possibly even just walk into here into the back end. There's a burger store, there's a liquor store, and there's a lamp store. Um, but I'm thinking this is this is the one because this will give me water. I can clean my outfits. It doesn't have a well. I do have some purification tablets if I need them, but I could probably use as much of the water as I can here. I'm going to bring my generator with me so that I can power this and get in at nighttime, probably power this building in here. And so that's an option. This here, I'm not ready to. I mean, this might have some livestock already that I could pilfer from here. So this might be an option. Maybe I'll take this on. There's 3 houses, so there could be a fair amount. Um, and we don't even know what's on this. I don't even know yet, even what's on this highway. I mean, there could be just tons of stuff on this highway too. This could just be loaded. So I might come in here if I don't see that this is an option, because I do see that there's a hedge around there and a fence, especially a high fence around. So this will be helpful to kind of protect me. So, um, I mean, that it is an option. I'll take a look at it, but if I don't like it, I'll come out. and I'll come back up here and I'll take a look at this. If that doesn't work, there is this option over here. I'm sure there's lots of zombies over here as well. There's a big storage area in here. I mean, this is also an option, but to get into the town is pretty difficult. I mean, I could go up here and down and in to get and come in from the back end. We do have the airport here as well as the prison. I'm just worried that this area here is going to be very difficult. There is the option of coming out to this farmhouse as well, which is kind of handy. But again, there's only really one entranceway. It should be pretty well okay. And I don't think I could come down here and walk down here and come into the back. I mean, that might be an option to come in and take over this area. And even in thinking about it in secondhand, this might be the option. Is coming into here and then just walking down into here, taking out zombies, coming back, resting, coming, and then see what we're looking at is coming in the back end. Now it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get in here. So if I don't have a sledgehammer, I'm not going to get in. I'd have to walk all the way around, and this is just going to be swarmed. So maybe that's not the good idea. It's probably looking like one or two of these areas in here is going to be the best one. All right, so that's what we're going to try. All right, so I'm just going to minimize and flip over to our to the game. Okay. And let's just see. We'll hide that. And let's get into the game here. All right, so let me just pick this up. It doesn't look like it's picking it up. So basically what I will do is I will stop the stream and start it right away. Okay.